Dear Diary, many things have happened to our wagon train since leaving for Independence, Missouri. One of our first situations happened at Prairie Wells. We were anxious to refill our water barrels from the wells. The water has always been free, but we found several armed guards standing in front of the wells. They demanded money from us. Our wagon train discussed the situation, and we decided to attack at night.
As a result, we got caught and we had no extra water, so we had to struggle along the trail till we found water.
Shortly after getting past the wells, we faced another decision. The trail split into two paths. One of the paths was shorter, but it led through the Indian burial ground. We were warned that the Indians did not want us to pass through this area. The other trail was longer, but it was supposed to be safer from the Indian attacks. Our wagon trail decided to take the long trail. We made this decision because it was safer and we didn't want to run into any trouble.
This was a good decision for our train because we didn't want to get in trouble and didn't want to get hurt by the Indians and put our family in danger.
A few days later, we entered Cheyenne Crossing. The river was deeper than the last one. We had a few problems crossing this river. This is what happened to our members of our wagon train. Pat Richards lost one of her animals. Mr. and Mrs. Eller lost an animal along the trail. Mr. and Mrs. Long got stuck in the mud. Dr. Smith, Mrs. Smith, and Mrs. Smith got stuck in the mud also. Mr. and Mrs. Black lost some of her stuff when it fell off the train. Mr. and Mrs. Adams' wagon train crashed. Mr. and Mrs. Cox had to trade with Indians. We are hoping to get to Oregon safely with no more encounters with the Native Americans.